create more? How do you manifest those things that you really desire? How do you leapfrog from having little to having a lot? Look, I know it can be confusing when we're talking about creation, laws of manifestation, the laws of attraction, but in this video, I'm going to share with you the 4-step process that you need to tackle in order to make those big changes in your life that make the difference and also have you experience wealth, luxury, and riches beyond anything you can imagine. I want to share with you a story where I was able to create a Porsche out of a Volvo. And I want to show you the 4-step process that I did in order to do that so that you can do it yourself in your own life with everything you desire. So let's talk a little bit about the 4 things that you need to do in order to manifest, use the laws of attraction to leapfrog in your creations. Because look, I know a lot of people want to make more money, $1 million a year. They want to drive nice cars, have nice things, but really this reality can be conflicting, especially if you're a spiritual person. So if you're on a spiritual journey, what I find is a lot of times we get stuck in a limitation of our judgment, point of views, and conclusions about rich people, people who are wealthy, and people who have money. And so that actually holds us back. So let's talk about the first thing that you need to do in order to create a space where magic can show up and you can leapfrog into your next creation. So step number one is actually your energetic alignment, the energy that you're in. So if you think about it, I always talk about this with all of my clients across the board. When you have a thought about rich people or people with money, I want you to see what kind of judgments show up, what kind of limitations. Now, these are limitations because they're judgments. So if you think rich people are corrupt, you're never going to be rich. If you think people who have a lot of money are greedy, you're never going to be rich. The reason being is your judgment about the greed or the distaste for it. Whatever those judgments are that show up naturally, those are the first limiters that will show up inside of what you want to create. So you'll never be rich if you think they're greedy, because you don't want to be greedy. Nobody wants to be labeled like that. So you want to look at where you're energetically aligned about wealth, money, luxury, things of that nature, and notice if there's any discrepancies, judgment, point of views, or conclusions. Side note, if you work with me, you want to go clear those energies. And we do all that with the work we do, okay? So just pay attention if you have that. So where are you aligned energetically? There's also a frequency that you get aligned in. So you're either expansive with it or you're contracted with it. So money either feels expansive, luxury, wealth, the thing that you desire will either feel expansive or feel contracted, like you can't actually achieve it. So that's step one, is identifying and shifting your energy so you can be in a field of expansion, acceptance, and you can already start to be in the energy field of what it is that you desire. Meaning, if you're wanting luxury and riches, that you're in an energy field of luxury and riches. So that's step one. Step two is I want you to look at what kind of questions are you asking about the thing that you desire. Okay, so I'm giving you this process, then I'm going to share with you my story. So stay tuned, my friend. Okay, so ask the questions, and the questions you want to look for: how do you have the universe support what you're fulfilling on? Typically, most people create from a judgment, point of view, or conclusion, or a linear space. Like, if I do this, then I'm going to get this, then I'm going to attain this. It's actually very limited. So your opportunity here is to ask questions to expand what you could be creating. This actually allows a sense of wonderment, and that wonderment is going to outcreate yourself. You see, when I was looking for a Volvo, I never thought a Porsche was actually in my wheelhouse. I was open, I was asking the question, but it never crossed my mind that I could ever own a Porsche at that time, nor did I think it was possible. So it wasn't even my wheelhouse of possibilities. So think about that. If you've ever worked with possibilities, you have to know a possibility in order to create it. What I'm talking about is going beyond that, okay? So step one was your energetic alignment. Step two is asking questions and actually coming from wonderment and expansion. So in that case, you would ask a question like, I wonder what it would feel like to be in luxury. I wonder what it would feel like, or what does it feel like, or what could it be like to drive a luxurious feeling car? If I had it all my way, what would I be driving? What kind of car? What kind of vehicle? This is all the work that I did inside of expanding into a Porsche from a Volvo. The next thing is as you're asking the questions, you want to be able to tune into your intuition. You want to see if what's showing up is aligned in a past reality or the reality that you're creating. You want to know, wow, is this going to fulfill me inside of the experience of me having a human experience? You see, you're an infinite being. You have access to all energies. You're just having a human experience right now. So what kind of, like when you tune into your intuition, where is your intuition guiding you? And you want to be able to follow your intuition, not all your judgment, point of views, and conclusions. I'll show you how this shows up with my Volvo to Porche story, all right? And then I want you to be in the space of, last but not least, step 4, right? Unknowing. Like, can you surrender to not knowing how it's going to turn out? Because again, when you know how it's going to turn out, you know the way it goes. Those are all judgment, point of views, and conclusions. So let's look at this. My husband and I, we had just had our baby. We moved to Colorado and we were driving an electric car, which we loved. It was part of our energetic priorities. It made complete sense, but it doesn't make complete sense if you want to travel up to the mountains in Colorado, because those drives are really long. An electric car doesn't make it. At least a Nissan Leaf doesn't make it at that time when we had it. So we were shopping for a new car and I had parameters. I was like, you know what? I'm very savvy with my money, so I want a 2-year-old car. I want it to have 60,000 miles or less on it. We had a budget set aside. I wanted an SUV or a wagon with lots of room because our family was growing, and I wanted to be able to go up to the mountain. So I kind of had my parameters. Now, I had been playing with the energy, remember that was step 1, the energy of luxury for a while. And so I knew that I like luxurious things. So one of the elements of the car that I tasked my husband with was, I want to find something that's pristine inside, like clean inside and outside. That's what I want. And so he had basically gone out, we narrowed it down, and we came up with 2 vehicles. Now the 2 vehicles we had come up with, I think, was like a Saturn SUV, something fairly new, and a Volvo wagon that was fairly old but kind of trendy, had matched all of our criteria. So criteria for pricing, the criteria for mileage, the pristineness, and everything, okay? So we had come down to these 2, but neither of these 2 really lit me up. So you want to notice the energy of which you choose things. It wasn't lighting me up, this Volvo or the Saturn. So I was kind of stuck. I was like, I don't know if either of these are it. And so I got on the phone and I did what any normal person would do. I phoned all my psychic friends about a car, okay? Now my psychic friend said, I'm actually getting the hit on the Volvo. I asked my questions and tuned into my intuition. I got a hit on the Volvo. Here I am asking questions. I got a hit on the Volvo. Didn't like my answer. Asked my psychic friends. They got hits on the Volvo. I didn't like the answers. So I was actually stalling. In order to go get the Volvo, we had to like leave that night and do, you know, because car salesmen, they have like all the things. It's advertised at this price, so if you want this price, you gotta come right now. You know the thing that they do. Anyways, so I'm driving up to Boulder. We got a babysitter for my kid to watch him, and I'm like, I really am not inspired by this Volvo. There's nothing about it. I got it meets all the requirements, but it wasn't lighting me up. And I'm like, you know what? We need, so I'm asking questions. Is this right? Is this going to serve us? Is this going to make us more money? Is this like, are there any other options? So we opened up our awareness and I said, who do we know that knows cars? Now we're from San Diego. My husband goes, you know what? Our old car neighbor knows about cars. And I go, cool. Get your parents, get his number, let's call him. So we called him and we asked a bunch of questions about the cars. We're like, look, Volvo, Saturn, which way do we go? Neither one of them are super exciting. And he's like, you know what? He actually was like, they're both highly overpriced. I can't believe this is like your options. I was like, it's Colorado. They like Volvo, Saturns, and SUVs. So long story short, he says, hey, if these are your parameters, I got a Porsche for you. And we're like, what? Now, it wasn't a Porsche, like a normal Porsche, it was the SUV, the Cayenne, a Porsche Cayenne. He was like, yeah, I have a Porsche Cayenne. He's like, it's ready to go. I'd be more than happy to sell you, and it meets all of your requirements. Now, here's what happens. Our brains could not wrap around a Porsche. Now, here's the deal. When we're talking about intuition, I guide my clients in first, what's light and heavy. That's an easy way to tune in. And so my husband, I looked at him as soon as I heard Porsche Cayenne, and I was like, ooh, that car be light now, meaning it was a yes. And I was like, and he looked at me straight on and he goes, how can it be a yes? The Volvo was a yes. And I was like, yeah, but the Volvo wasn't super fun. Like the energetic frequency on it was a little off. It met all of our parameters, but it wasn't it. And as soon as we had Porsche Cayenne, I was like, da, 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 it's it, love it. Okay, so we had to work ourselves out about this, because what shows up immediately is, are we Porche people? What does it look like when my husband goes to pick up the babes up at, he had to deal with it. He's like, look, I'm already a stay-at-home dad. What's it gonna look like when I pick up the kid from preschool in the Porche? And I'm like, I don't know that you have a Porche. And he's like, can we afford it? I'm like, it met all the parameters. So our brain actually disconnects from the ability to tune in and go like, look at all these different ways that you could have a new reality, but then it doesn't fit in the current reality and we have to deal with ourselves. So this was the step 4, which is not like, be willing to be in the unknown, like not knowing what the answer may look like, because our knowing is the thing that limits us. So when you're building and expanding and going bigger, wanting more, which I think you do, you have to be willing to go like, okay, but this doesn't match up with this reality. And you have to be willing to go like, okay, I actually had my husband, I sat down and I was like, time to clear some energy, babe, because clearly, like this is gonna be the limitation in our life. If every time we get the opportunity to have more and be more and do more, but we're bumping up against the past, we're gonna have a hard go of it. We want it easy, we want it expansive. So he went and did his clearing work. We looked at all the things and the limitations around receiving the Porche. And then, here's the thing, we lived in Denver, the Porche was in San Diego. So we had like logistic, like how could we make that work? I was like, well, so-and-so ain't working. We should just call her up, see if she wants to bring that Porche on out here. We had all of our family test drive. We even inspired my brother-in-law to get a Porche after this. Okay, so look, here's the deal. When you're co-creating with universe, meaning no judgment, point of view, and conclusion, you're not doing it on your own, the universe will show you other avenues, meaning your highest self, or however you want to identify universe, source energy, your highest self will show you other ways to go, meaning other avenues of expansiveness, other opportunities you didn't know were there. So I could have never gotten to that Porche if I didn't get a full yes on the Volvo, if I wasn't out to go look at that Volvo, and if I already wasn't out to like ask some questions to how this could go, or bigger opportunities, or which one to choose. We would have never called our San Diego friend that was a friend of a friend through our parents. So if you're picking this up, what you're getting, I hope what you're getting is questions will expand your reality. Following your intuition will always guide you to something more if you're aligned in that field, and aligning your field in that energetic frequency of expansion. So it's the energetic alignment that you're in, asking the questions, using your intuition, and being willing and able to receive even more on that path. That's what's had me grow my business, have me have a great relationship, have me expand in my capacity to serve other humans. All of that is in these 4 steps, okay? Real quick, let's review. Your energetic alignment. Are you aligned and expansive in what you want and what you're creating, right? And does it feel expansive? Number 2, what kind of questions are you asking with what it is that you desire to create? Number 3, are you following your intuition in that? And number 4, are you willing to not know and have it be even bigger than you could imagine? If you're aligned in all those places, that's the magic key. So go ahead, if you like this, if this made sense, subscribe, like, and share. And then in the comments, tell me, what are you creating? Give me a heck yes if you're like down for the laws of manifestation and learning more, and tell me what you're creating. Tell me what you're bumping up against. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me, my friend. We're all in this together, and I want you to create even more in your reality, in your life. Okay, that's all for now. Signing off. My name's Tamerlane Ross, founder of My Life, My Design. I'm bringing you the message you need to hear at the exact time you need to hear it.